So again, you just saw the Uno drum, which is, yeah, my favorite. I need to say it. So I want to thank, by the way, the mm, uh, regarding the information that yes, is 400 grams, and I wanted to just say a little bit more about the fact the portability of those two objects. So of the Uno synth and Uno drum. I don't know. Maybe some of you have followed. I was called the Thomann synth reactor, or and yeah, and also the Amsterdam Dance event. Yeah, I'm not that much on the in the US, of course, because based in Italy, so I'm mostly in Europe. But yeah, anyway, um, once I did a test for the Thomas interaction. For example, I made a test, and I literally took the Uno synth, put it on, uh, put it on, how it's called, on, on a, on my luggage that wasn't even my hand luggage, was the luggage that went on the in the airplane somewhere, just trash it around, and yeah, without anything, just put it there. The luggage was basically empty, so yeah, it was just going all around. I took it off once arrived. Everything works perfectly. So one of the things that maybe some people didn't are kind of worried about the Uno Synth and Uno Drum is that they are made of plastic, so they might be uh, fragile. They are not. Definitely not. Literally, you can just throw it through a wall. It's gonna work. That's it. It's. I'm not saying that it's built like a tank, of course, because yeah, come on, it's plastic. But it's not that cheap either. It's something that you can literally put everywhere, drop it with you, wherever, and it's just gonna and it's just gonna work. I did a video last what was it? Last yeah, 2 weeks ago. I made a video. It was just me guitar playing with a Uno drum, standing by the river here in my region. And yeah, I mean, humidity, mm, dirt, whatever, just work it out brilliantly. So yeah. So about all. Any question regarding the Uno drum, feel free to just mm, ask me anything. I'm here for it. So no problem at all. By the way, regarding Andrei comment on the rare vintage sound, yes, a lot. I mean, which I guess we're talking about the the uh, the vintage library that we had, the tiny vintage library. Yes, a lot of really beautiful sounds from really vintage drum machines. I had the pleasure of working on those samples, which yeah, gigabytes and gigabytes of samples, which is quite fun because some of those drum machines just make one sound basically, but still gigabytes because all hit differently. It's kind of yeah, you never know. And so I needed to choose and see which sounds better and which one fit on the Uno drum. And yeah, I hope it was a good job. But you tell me, what's your favorite synth of all time? That's a nice question. My favorite synth of all time. It's a tough question. But yeah, I'm gonna say it. Yeah, it's the MS-20. I just love it. I mean, my first synth was a Novation Supernova 2 rack, which was, yeah, a digital synth. Yeah, so yeah, mine was the MS-20. I love it. I literally love it. And your was the Casio Cheesy. Oh, I have one in my office. Sounds brilliant, by the way. I mean, in 2020, it sounds brilliant. But what's your favorite drum machine of all the time? And I mean, everybody's gonna say, yeah, the 808 and then the 909, but I'm sure there's somebody have some other drum machine in mind. So yeah, mine, for example, is the 707. I love it because I mean, I love a little bit more about I love, for example, the fact, I mean, the disco sound, and yeah, is not an analog drum. Which, by the way, the Uno drum libraries for the vintage drum machine are all analog drum machines. So that's why some people ask it why there's no Lin drum sounds, because it's not analog. So yeah, we always have a rule in IK, which is no samples of samples. So sampling a 707 is not our, for example, is not our way of doing things. So yeah, if it's analog, okay, because we can just take that piece of gear, which is gonna of course sound different from the one that maybe you have at home, um, and we can just record it and sampling as we want. But that's the main thing. Replying to Eric Norlander, which let me know that I should be here. Yeah, I'm here. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Some cool user videos about the yeah, to be, just to let you know, uh, I what I literally watched all the videos that we have about the Uno drum and the Uno synth. I love. Hi Thomas. Um, I watched them all. Uh, the first reason is I wanted to know if somebody uses it, because I do. You know, I like to be part of something. And the second reason is understanding how you use it, for which reason, how you want it, how you tweak it, how uh, you play with it, how you get inspired by it. So I watched them all, and I need to say that I love some of those are incredible. So thanks, guys. Yes, yes, definitely. No, but jokes apart, I love them. I really love them. I'm not actually watching them sometimes. I'm actually looking like, I don't know, maybe I'm writing specification, or I'm drawing some ideas, and I'm listening to it. And sometimes, yeah, it just blows my mind. Just I need to stop, watch the video, say, "What? How the heck did it make that sound?" I love it. So I love it. Ciao, bro. I don't know if I pronounce it correctly, but yeah, ciao. Uh, K1. You know that I never use it. I'm so sorry, Thomas, to disappoint you. Shame on me. I never use a K1, and I would love to. Lord, and I would love to use it. But yeah, instead of making the next super secret Uno project, which I would add an S behind project after project, so you know it's gonna be projects. You never know. I need to try the Uno drum. Yes, you do. What? Come on, we are here because of that. Kidding. Yes, you do need to try the Uno drum. Also because uh, I might be a little bit biased, but the sound of it, the sound of the analog sounds, of the analog elements. I mean, um, uh, I don't know, are real, are kind of have their own life. Yes, we put a lot of samples on it because, of course, you are producing, you need more flavors, more inspiration, more of everything. But the analog sounds are always the best ones in most of the cases, at least. I love the hi-hats a lot. Those hi-hats are real. Sound actually really cheap. You think so? You need to try it in your studio, like the K1. You need to try it in your studio, try it and and play with it because maybe lol. Okay, okay. Um, but maybe that's not what you meant. Anyway, I was talking about the hi-hats on the Uno drum. I love it. As I was saying during the demo, the hi-hats are one of the special parts of it. I mean, we had a here in IK mind, literally mind condition 808, beautiful piece of gear, something that you just turn on and speechless. And we were looking at how you do that, how you do a hi-hat that is this real in an electronic piece of gear. And I don't know, we open it and we discover the impossible. Like everyone, I don't know, you are with your synth, with your analog synth most of the time. Maybe you want to create something, and at a certain point, you also try to create an hi-hat and snare or a kick and whatever kind of percussion you want to create with a synthesizer. Um, and and you always use, of course, uh, the white noise. That's the first thing that came in mind. So during the development of the Uno drum, for example, we thought, okay, we just put a noise generator and yeah, game play, game match, everything. Nope, it sounded like a cabasa. And we're like, how it is even possible that something that easy is that difficult to do? So we looked into it. We looked a lot, and we looked at some vintage drums, like for example, again the 808, the mini pops, and all those vintage drums, and yeah, the reason is the hi-hat is not white noise based. It's not noise based. Is square. It's just an array of square waves, which is noise, but it's a square metallic noise. And yeah, then the way of doing it is a little bit more uh, is a little bit more complicated. But yeah, it's not a white noise, which is weird. It was so fun, and it's super fun. It is super fun. What are the advantages of the captions interface? Well, there's nothing that can broke, first of all. And I mean, for a portable device that you need to put in your backpack and you throw it everywhere and you put it whatever, it's not gonna break. The touch interface, for example, on the synth is useful to create, I don't know, to put down ideas randomly, for example, and using the swipe on the keyboard to play. The touch interface on the drum is useful for performing, so muting, mm, leveling, all those stuff is super fast, and it can be done just in a click. I mean, you just put it there, just done. Of course, there are some pro, and there are some cons, but in the end, it turns out to be a little bit more of a pros, especially for that price range and and the use that you're gonna have with that. So yeah, precisely, and well, I'm not saying that you can put, I don't know, you can put whatever, a beer, drop a beer on it, and it's gonna work later on. But yeah, it does. I tried myself, unfortunately, but it does. It does work later on. And yeah, plus is a way to keep your hands clean, so you're not gonna, you know, the, do something on that surface. You're gonna clean your hands and then play with it. Besides its PCM libraries, it is possible to load original samples into the Uno drum. Original samples, I think you mean your own samples. So, no, at this moment, no. There are no real plans for doing it. And the reason is quite simple. The Uno drum is not a sampler. And I know it sounds quite, I don't know, quite a super easy answer, but in the end, that's the truth. Uno drum is not a sample. Uno drum is firstly an analog drum machine, and then it has samples, even though there's a lot of. Also, the samples that you're gonna put inside the Uno drum are really, really not difficult to create, but it's not an easy process. We will need to create a system to let you do it with a lot of limitation, because again, it's not a sample. It's not a sampler. So not being born as a sampler, yeah, it's like how can I say it? There was a really old piece of gear, I don't remember, that you could put your own sample, but it didn't work. Don't remember, but yeah. So yeah, it doesn't really work as a sampler. So that's it. Ooh. So if you win a giveaway, you're gonna maybe try finally the Uno drum, and you're gonna love it later on, by the way. Ah, see ya. Can we hear something? Well, later on, we're gonna hear the demo again, I guess. Today and tonight, now the moment for the live question and answer. I don't have anything hooked up, but yeah, and you can also go to our channels and to our websites and hear all the demos, all the videos, also the videos from all the users there all around the world, which I thank you again for. And yeah, it's time to say goodbye. I'm gonna work on the new project. Bye, guys, and you're gonna love it. I'm sure you're gonna love it. Have fun.
Hi there, I'm Eric Norlander. I'm one of the developers of Syntronik. What is Syntronik, you might ask? Syntronik is a virtual instrument based on 44 classic hardware synthesizers. We started with this collection and then added a little bit to it. We turned these 44 great hardware synths into 22 virtual instruments to represent them. Okay, here's our VCF3 based on the EMS VCS3. The V80 based on the Yamaha CS80, SY1, SY2, and GX1 even. The T03 based on the Roland TB303, of course. Stringbox is based on a bunch of classic string machines, the ARP String Ensemble, the Roland RS505 and RS09, the Hohner String Performer, Univox Multiman, and Elka Rhapsody. I had to write it down to remember all those. The SHV, which is based on the Roland SH5 and SH2. SAM, based on the famous Oberheim SEM synthesizer expander module that you find in the 4-voice and the 2-voice and all those great old Oberheim synths. The Pro V, based on the Prophet 5 and the Prophet 10. Polymorph. This is based on the Polymoog, and also the realistic MG1 and the Moog Rogue as well. The OXA, based on the legendary Oberheim OBXA. The Noir, this is based on the Multi-Moog and the Micro-Moog, which are some kind of special odd Moog synths that sound nothing like a mini Moog to me. Poly, based on the Korg Monopoly and Poly 6. Modulum, what the hell is a modulum? Modulum is a drum synthesizer that's built on samples from the Moog modular, the EMS VCS3 and the Alesis Andromeda all cross-patched together just to make really cool analog drum kits and analog percussion sounds all mapped to general MIDI. So you can just drop this in your DAW and program it like a normal drum kit. Minimod. This is based on the legendary Minimoog Model D and also the Moog Modular. Memory V, based on the Memory Moog Polysynth. J60, based on the Roland Juno 60. J8, based on the Epic Roland Jupiter 8. Harpy 260, based on the ARP 2600. My favorite, the Galaxy, based on the Alesis Andromeda. DCO-X, this is based on the great Roland DCO-based synths from the 80s. The JX10, the JX8P, and the MKS70. Bully, based on the famous Moog Taurus pedals. Blau, this is based on the PPG 2.2 and 2.3 classic wavetable synthesizers. And the 99, based on the Yamaha SY99, which is just one of the greatest FM synths of all time. So how does it work? Okay, well, let me load up the next demo. Synthesthesia. You guys will notice that I even spelled synesthesia right, I think. Okay, cool. All right, so if you are an IK software user and you use Sample Tank 4, you'll recognize a very familiar browser. So we have our 22 synths on the left in the column here. So here's our 99, our Blau, our Bully, DCO, X, etc. Just going all the way down the list. And how do you navigate through, the 2,000 plus presets that are in here? Well, you pick a synth you like. Let's say the V80. Okay, that's a great one. And now we're only seeing presets from the V80. We can further sort by category, by timbre, by style, even by musical genre and mood. How about that? And there's also a favorite system. So you can pick the star and go, okay, well, these are my 4 favorites from the V80. So let's load up Vangelina. This is like a famous Vangelis style brass. Cool. And every one of the synths uses sampled oscillators. Why would we use sampled oscillators? Well, for me, sample oscillators sound like the classic hardware synths because they are the classic hardware synths. When you hear, samples of something like the OBXA, for example, let's go here and let's go to our favorites. And when you hear the actual sampled oscillators, nothing sounds more authentic than the actual synth. All right, so how did we do that? That's more than just oscillators, of course. So after we had the huge sampled sound set of more than 100,000 samples, we used IK's leading edge modeling technology, and we modeled the most famous filters from classic synths, and then we made those available on every synth. So let's say, I don't know, you have a Minimoog sample set, for example. So let's load up this. Okay, and here's our Minimoog, mini mod, that is, using samples from the classic Minimoog. Every synth in Syntronik has all of the different modeled filters available. So here we are using the M-type filter based on the famous Bob Moog transistor ladder filter. We also have the R-type filter, which is based on the Roland chip filter that's in the Jupiter 8 and the Juno 60, great OTA based filter. The C-type filter based on the famous Curtis chip filter that you find in the Rev 3 Prophet 5 and in the OBXA and so many other great synths. The O-type filter, which is based on the famous Oberheim SEM state variable filter, and then some modern digital filters as well, a phaser filter, a formant filter, and then the classic sample tank VCF filter. Then for each filter, you have modes. In the case of the state variable, we have low pass, band pass, high pass, and notch. But in some cases, like for example, the Curtis chip filter in the synths that we modeled only had a low pass mode. So we only give you low pass for that. Some of them didn't have as many slopes as well. So for the M-type filter, okay, we give you all 4 modes, low pass, band pass, high pass, and notch, 6, 12, 18, and 24 dB slope. But then the Roland filter, for example, the R-type filter, this was only 12 dB and 24 dB per octave. So we didn't bother to fake the other slopes because it just wouldn't sound authentic. Okay, so we have our sampled oscillators through our modeled filters. Those go through an effects rack. And this is a 500 series style effects rack, just like the one you see in Sample Tank 4. In fact, Syntronik came before Sample Tank 4, so the Sample Tank 4 effects are actually based on this Syntronik design. We have 5 slots, and you can put any effect in any slot. There are 38 total effects that are taken from T-Rax and from Amplitube, and of course from Sample Tank. You can put any effect in any slot. You can just drag them around if you want to change them. And the collection of effects is pretty astounding. We go from, you know, guitar amps to, you know, distortion stomp boxes, all the classics you'd expect to find. You have a LP record effect. We have a whole slew of equalizers and compressors from T-Rax, the Black 76 based on the famous Yuri 1176, the Model 670 based on the Fairchild 670, great White 2A based on the Teletronics LA2A, and then some great EQs like our channel strip EQ, which includes like a basic console EQ. So you've got your high and low shelf and then a sweepable mid. But then we also took a sub bass EQ and a high air EQ from the Pultec EQ1A tube EQ and put those on. So you have like the basic console EQ to do your normal EQing, and then you have a separate sub and an air band to really just add a lot of cool polish and you know master quality glow to the sound. Of course, we have a bunch of reverbs and delays, plate reverb, hall reverb that you'd expect, of course. We have a great tape echo, of course, taken from T-Rax, and then a digital delay as well, like you'd expect. So the effects are, it's just a really cool way to just finalize your synth sound. So imagine taking, you know, your favorite 44 hardware synths and then running them through, you know, just a stack of 500 series racks with basically any studio effect you want. That was our goal with this setup. Okay, so I've mentioned Sample Tank a few times, Sample Tank 4. Syntronik is based on the Sample Tank engine. And when we added things like the modeled filters and the new effects, the new modeled effects like the ensemble, for example, this is an awesome effect based on the ARP string ensemble, ensemble chorus, and then also the Roland Juno 60 chorus and the RS505 chorus. So I went off on a tangent, but that's because we built this on the Sample Tank engine, and so that's why all of the effects from Sample Tank, Amplitube, T-Rax are available. But then when we develop new technology for Syntronik, like the modeled filters and new effects, like this cool ensemble effect, we add those to Sample Tank as well. So let's have a look at Sample Tank. Here it is. This is Sample Tank 4. The Syntronik libraries, or rather the Syntronik synths, can all be played in Sample Tank 4, and they appear in Sample Tank 4 as libraries. So we go to our Sample Tank browser. Okay, here's our normal Sample Tank browser. Here's Sample Tank 4 Max with the thousands of presets and tons of gigabytes of sounds that it comes with. And then all the expanded libraries, extended libraries beyond that, like Spaceport 77, alternate keys, clavitubes, cinematic percussion, all of these great libraries, orchestral percussion. Here's Miroslav Philharmonic 2. This, of course, appears as a library within Sample Tank 4. And then here are all the Syntronik synths. So now, if you want to load a Syntronik synth into Sample Tank 4, it just shows up as a library. So Blau shows up as a library. Okay, here's our icon, a little description telling us about the sound. We load that in. Okay, and we go back to our Sample Tank 4 set. And we're not hearing anything. Oh, if I unmute it, that'll help. And of course, Sample Tank 4 is it's a 16-part instrument. So I've loaded up 8 different presets from Syntronik here. I can load up to 16 if I want. I can mix and match between, here's the Blau, here's the Bully, here's the DCOX, Memory V, Poly M, the Mini Mod, the Noir, and then here's the Blau again. Okay, so let's put something else in there, like, oh, we've used the Bully already. Okay, what's a cool one? Mini Mod, Modulum. Oh, Modulum. Maybe we want a drum kit. Okay, so we'll load up our drum kit into that. And you can mix and match. Now, obviously, Sample Tank 4 doesn't have the same editing style as Syntronik does, but it does have a very cool editing system. For any part that you have loaded, you click on the Edit Instrument tab over here, and then we have the Sample Tank style editing window. And we have our filter, and we can select between all the different filter types here. We have our envelopes. We can switch between envelope 1, envelope 2, our various LFOs, and then here's our velocity demodulation, our oscillator section. You can go between oscillator 1 and 2 here, all the usual stuff. So this is a different way of approaching the Syntronik editing. So if you want a more computer style editing interface, you can load up any Syntronik preset in Sample Tank 4, do your editing, and of course save it back. And then, not like Syntronik, but exactly the same as Syntronik, we have our 5-slot 500 series style effects rack in Sample Tank. And this is the really powerful thing. So if we go to our main window in Sample Tank, okay, I have 8 Syntronik presets loaded up. They're all assigned to different MIDI channels. Of course, I can layer them all together if I want, transpose them, pan them, whatever. But every one of these Syntronik presets has its own 5-slot effects rack. So if I go to Boardwalk 4 oscillator stereo sweep in the monopoly, and I look at the effects rack, okay, there's 5 unique effects for that, totally different than all the rest of them. Different than the Mini Mod set, for example, and Modulum. Okay, that's pretty basic, just the channel strip and reverb. But you can see the power of using Syntronik and Sample Tank 4 together. You can do your basic sound design and browsing and all that in Syntronik, and then when you want to do an epic production with 8, 10, 16 parts, you can use Sample Tank 4 to just load up as many as you like. Of course, you can use multiple instances of the plugins in your DAW, so you could have Sample Tank 4 with 16 parts, all with different Syntronik presets on them, and then you could load up an instance of Syntronik and have 2 or 3 more there as well. So the possibilities are pretty incredible. I should also mention there is a arpeggiator, just like Sample Tank 4, in both. This is a phaser. With this arpeggiator, there we go. So there's an arpeggiator in both Syntronik and Sample Tank 4. It has the same interface. So once you learn it on one, it's exactly the same on the other. And there's just so much you can do. I can't really say much more than that in the short time I have here. But I'll be doing a Q&A in a few minutes. So if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks so much, and have a good one.